political violence and how it's necessary. Think about this now.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Look, you know, if we're in a situation where
President Joe Biden.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Wait. Before you walk down, I wanted the Caseys to come up with me because where I come from, Scranton's Casey's country. We got raised in the same neighborhood in Greenridge, not far from two of the best little candy shops in the whole country. And I just wanted to they can't deny me. That's why I wanted them up here. I want them to know. And by the way, this guy has more integrity in his little finger than most people have in their whole body. That's why I love working with him. And like me, he married way up. Way up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As my mother, Jean Finnegan Biden from Greenridge would say, please excuse my back when I'm speaking. I apologize. And by the way, you know, one of the best things of all being President of the United States is the Marine Band. They're the best in the world. Stand up, guys. They are the very, 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 very best. They can not only play, they know how to fight too. God love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. How are you, baby? How old are you? How old are you? Almost double figures. Well, look, folks, it's great to be here in Wilkes-Barre. I mean that sincerely. Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. Mayor Brown, thank you for the introduction and the passport to this great city. And Mayor Cognetti, we're almost in heaven. We're almost in Scranton. Almost. Being raised in Scranton, they say you're going down the line. Any rate, you know, and what a leadership lineup you have here in Pennsylvania. I want to thank your outstanding governor, Tom Wolf. Tom and I have been friends a long time. He's truly one of the best governors in the United States of America. Not a joke. Not a joke. And a stand-up guy. A stand-up guy. And Josh Shapiro is a champion for the rule of law as your Attorney General. And he's going to make one hell of a governor. I really mean it. And by the way, he couldn't be here today. We spoke Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. When I say he's a powerful voice, I used to be in the old days a pretty good athlete. And if someone was really big and tough, you said I wouldn't screw with him if I had a sledgehammer. Well, I tell you what, Fetterman's a hell of a guy, a powerful voice for working people, and he's going to make a great United States Senator. He's going to make a great United States Senator. And as I said, Bobby Casey is one of my closest friends, one of our great United States Senators. And your Congressman, Matt Cartwright, is the real reason I'm here. I'm in Cartwright country. He knows how to deliver for this district, which is so close to my heart. Look, I especially want to thank all the members of law enforcement who are here, many of whom are behind me, for always being there for us. and we should always be there for them. And by the way, also a group that you need badly, you don't really appreciate till you need them, is the firefighters. The firefighters have been with me my whole career, and let me tell you something. There's an old expression, God made man, then he made a few firefighters, because you got to be crazy to be a firefighter. By the way, please sit down. I'm sorry. Please sit down. I keep forgetting. Thank you. But look, when I ran for president, I said I looked at the world the way I looked at it growing up in Scranton, and that wasn't hyperbole. I meant that. What families wanted was in Scranton when I was growing up, with my mom and dad and my grandpa, was the basic as it is today. A decent job, the opportunity to be treated with dignity. Everyone, my dad would say, everybody's entitled to be treated with dignity, the simple dignity. The fact is that they want to be able to go to good schools, in safe neighborhoods, a decent place to live, and just a fair shot for their kids. You know, a peace of mind knowing your kids can go to school or the playground or the movies or the high school game and come home safely, not have to think about it. But for too long, too many families haven't had that peace of mind. They watch the news and they see kids being gunned down in schools and on the streets. Almost every single night you turn the news on, that's what you see. They see their neighbors lose their loved ones to drugs like fentanyl, which is a flat killer. They see hate and anger and violence just walking the streets of America. And they just want to feel safe again. They want to feel a sense of security. And that's what my crime plan is all about. You know, I call it the Safer America's Plan. And both your members of Congress voted for it. It's based on a simple notion. When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police. And we expect them to do everything. We expect them to protect us, to be psychologists, and to be sociologists. I mean, we expect you to do everything. I'm not joking. Everything. You realize more police officers are killed dealing with domestic violence than anything else? You realize that? The point is, we ask so much of you. So much of you. I've not met a cop who likes a bad cop. There's bad in everything. There's lousy senators, there's lousy presidents, there's lousy doctors, there's lousy lawyers. No, I'm serious. But I don't know any police officer that feels good about the fact that there may be a lousy cop. I'm tired of not giving the kind of help they need. Folks, look, we're in a situation in this country where we have to give them additional resources they need to get their job done. Matt gets it, Matt Cartwright, and this is not hyperbole. Matt's the chair of the powerful subcommittee that controls the funding for public safety. He knows what it means, investing in effective and accountable community policing that builds public trust and strengthens public safety. I'm old enough to remember when cops used to walk the beat in Wilmington and in Scranton because they knew everybody. They knew the kid. They knew if something was trouble. They knew whose house to go and knock on the door and say, "Mom, your son just did." I'm not being facetious. They knew the neighborhoods. As part of the American Rescue Plan, I signed into law last year, which they voted for, we set aside $350 billion, with a B, $billion for state and local governments all across America and urge them to use it like your governor did to make communities safer. Here in Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf is using $250 million of that money to reduce crime and violence across this state. And Mayor Brown just described how it's helping fund community policing here in Wilkes-Barre. But guess what? Every single Republican member of Congress, every single one in this state, every single one voted against the support for law enforcement. They talk about how much they love it. They voted against the funding. Flat out. Flat out. Every Republican in the House, every Republican in the Senate, every single one. I know we expect so much from our law enforcement officers, so we need to support them. That's why my crime plan to help communities recruit, hire, and train nationwide more than 100,000 additional officers, accountable officers for community policing. And I mean it. Folks, when it comes to fighting crime, we know it works. Officers on the street who know the neighborhood, not a joke, who know the neighborhood, who know the families they're protecting, who get the training they need to be able to do their jobs well, who work to earn the community's trust. And as we hire more police officers, there should be more training, more help, and more accountability. Without public trust, law enforcement can't do its job serving and protecting all the communities. If I can just interject for a moment, my deceased son, Bo, he was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. And what he used to do is go down in the east side, called the Bucket, highest crime rate in the country. There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area, the east side. And you know where you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is, and the best basketball in the city is. It's where everybody shows up. He'd go down and hang out and sit on a bench with my grandson, who's now 17 years old. And the police used to be in the car, the local city police. And he'd walk up and bang on the window. Say, get out of the car, damn it, and meet these people. Let them see you. Let them know you. Let them know who you are. Well, the truth was, remember what happened to community policing? We went from having enough cops on the street to cities doing well and then deciding they don't need more police officers. So they reduced the police forces. So you didn't have 2 cops in every vehicle. You had 1 cop in every vehicle. And I don't blame 1 cop for not getting out in some certain neighborhoods, not getting out of the car. And what happens is, it used to be, I can remember that when my son was the Attorney General, he'd go around in the tougher neighborhoods, and he would ensure that every single cop gave his cell phone number to the local liquor store owner, the local church, the local grocery store, the local hamburger joint. So if there's a problem, they pick up the phone and call. Because what do people not want to do in tough neighborhoods? They don't want to be the one identified as turning so-and-so in. I remember going on the east side in Wilmington, and one of those old Victorian 2-3-story apartment buildings, and going up to see a woman whose name she's passed away, but won't mention her name now. And stand in that rotunda, that part that stuck out around the building. And she'd say, Joey, I know what's going on. They all planned it downstairs. I can hear them, but I'm afraid to tell anybody. The gangs. And so I got her so that I got a phone number for the local cops. She'd call. They promised not to identify her because they knew there'd be retribution. And the crime rate began to drop for real, not a joke. You got to know people. You got to know, and you got to be able to trust the police. The police have to be able to trust the community. We slipped away from that. We have a hell of a lot fewer cops today than we did when I wrote that initial crime bill. But now we got to get back to it. And by the way, I'm not making the case there aren't bad cops. There's some really lousy cops. There's some really lousy doctors. There's really lousy lawyers. I mean it. But here's the point. As we've seen too often, public trust is frayed and is broken, and it undermines public safety when it gets frayed. It literally undermines safety. Families across the country have to ask, why in this nation, for example, so many Black Americans wake up knowing they could lose their life just by living their lives? You come from neighborhoods like I come from and down in Delaware. If you have a 16 or 17-year-old son and he gets a driver's license, you sit down and say, look, if you get stopped, put your hands on the wheel. Don't do anything. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. But here's the point. Simply jogging, sleeping on their homes. You know, they made headlines or not, they have a lot of lost souls. Increased trust makes policing more effective, and it strengthens public safety. And the communities, by the way, that want the police more than any other community are the tough, poor communities. Black, white, immigrants. They need the help. They want the help. It's not they don't want it. They want the help. Without that, victims don't call for help. Witnesses don't step forward. Crimes go unsolved. Justice isn't served. I took executive action, which I'm allowed to do as president. I always admired governors can take executive action. But all kidding aside, to make some of these reforms for federal officers, I couldn't do it for state officers. One, no federal officer is allowed to use a chokehold. No federal officer can there's restricted no-knock warrants. We created a national database for officers who have misbehaved and been held accountable so they can't hide. My plan will help make sure that state and local governments adopt these same reforms. My plan does something else really important. It addresses the opioid epidemic. Notice how many people are dying of opioid overdoses now? And by the way, laced with fentanyl? Attorney General Shapiro can tell you more about that you never want to know for a fact, for real. He's been such a strong leader on this, but we're going to impose tougher penalties for deadly fentanyl trafficking. That's poisoning communities across this country. This is a key part of the unity agenda I'm announcing that I announced in my State of the Union address. We can do this. We have to do this. We'll make America safer. My plan also takes common sense action to reduce gun violence and violence overall. The bills and the progress we made this summer when I signed into law the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the most significant gun safety law we passed in 30 years. It took 30 years. And we beat the NRA. We took them on and we beat the NRA straight up. You have no idea how intimidating they are to elected officials. The NRA was against it, which means the vast majority of Republicans in Congress couldn't even stand up and vote for it because they're afraid of the NRA. It's not unusual. Every Democrats, Republicans, senators, they get afraid of certain interest groups. They voted against it. Law enforcement supported it. Faith leaders and teachers supported it. Victims of gun violence and their families supported it. Young people in this country, like the students of this great university, supported it. And the NRA and the vast majority of congressional Republicans voted against it, saving lives and keeping America safe. But guess what? We took on the NRA and we're going to take them on again, and we won, and we will win again. But we're not stopping here. I'm determined to ban assault weapons in this country. Determined. I did it once before, and I'll do it again. For many of you home, I want to be clear. It's not about taking away anybody's guns. In fact, we should be treating responsible gun owners as examples how every gun owner should behave. I have 2 shotguns at home. It's a long story, but I'm not opposed to guns. But I support the Second Amendment, But the Second Amendment, as one of the most conservative justices in history, Justice Scalia once wrote, quote, like most rights, the rights granted by the Second Amendment are not unlimited. They're not unlimited. Right now, you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon. You can't go out and buy a cannon. And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun. No, I'm not joking. Think about this. Think about the rationale that's used to provide this. And who are they shooting at? Shooting at these guys behind me. Folks, look. I went to every major school shooting in the country since I was a chairman of the Judiciary Committee all the way through as vice president and president. Over 48,000 people died from gunshot wounds in 2021 in the United States of America. Over 26,000 by suicide. when guns are the number one killer, listen to this now, the guns are the number one killer of children in America. Of children, and number one. More children die from guns than active duty police and active duty military personnel combined. Hear that again? More children in America die from guns than active duty police and active duty military in the United States combined. We have to act. We have to act for those families in Buffalo, Uvalde, Newtown, El Paso, Parkland, Charleston, Las Vegas, Orlando. I've been to every one of those sites. Sit down with those parents. I spent 4 hours last time. Met with every single one of the parents and families that lost someone. See the looks in their faces. Think about it. Think about the devastation that's occurred. We have to act for all those kids gunned down on our streets every single day that never make the news. There's a mass shooting every single day in this country, in the streets of America, every single day. You have to act so our kids can learn to read in school instead of learning to duck and cover. Literally, schools all across America. Kids are showing up. The psychological damage done to our kids, not just COVID, but COVID, what it's impacted, how it's impacted us. And on top of that, a child going to school, children see this on television. You know, we're living in a country awash with weapons of war. Weapons that weren't designed to hunt or designed to take on an enemy. That's what they were designed to do. For God's sake, what's the rationale for these weapons outside of a war zone? They inflict severe damage. When I was recently in Uvalde, I almost hesitate to say to some of the kids in here, you know what some of the parents had to do? Supply DNA. Supply DNA. Because the AR-15 just rips the body apart. Could not identify the body. A 20-year-old kid can walk in and buy one? DNA to say that's my baby. What the hell's the matter with us? No, I'm not joking. Think about it. What are we doing? And by the way, my dad used to love to hunt in the Poconos when we lived in Scranton. How many deer or bear wearing Kevlar vests? Huh? Not a joke. Do you realize the bullet out of an AR-15 travels 5 times as rapidly as a bullet shot out of any other gun? 5 times, is lighter, and can pierce Kevlar. Imagine being a parent, not just losing a child, but not being able to physically identify the child or the adult because they've literally been blown apart. We equip our service members with the most lethal weapons on earth to protect all of us, protect Americans. But we require them to receive significant training, extensive background checks, mental health assessments. They have to learn how to lock up and store their weapons responsibly or they get kicked out. But we let any stranger, an 18-year-old, walk in, a 20-year-old, and buy an AR-15. That's why back in 1994, I took on the NRA and passed the assault weapons ban. For 10 years, mass shootings were down. 10 years in a row since I passed that legislation in 1994 as a senator. But in 2004, Republicans let that ban expire. What happened? Mass shootings in America tripled. It's time to ban these. It's time to ban these weapons. We did it before. We can do it again. Folks, Time to hold every elected official's feet to the fire and ask them, are you for banning assault weapons, yes or no? Ask them. If the answer is no, vote against them. Look, I'm prouder that after 7 years, we finally have a Senate-confirmed director of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms responsible for fighting gun crimes. For 7 years, the other team would not let us appoint anyone to that job. Incredibly important job to help local law enforcement, federal law enforcement, identify the ballistics, a whole range of things. For 7 years, we finally got it passed this time out, barely. 7 years because they didn't want anybody in that job. My plan gives the Bureau the funding to hire more agents, to stop gun trafficking. And by the way, there's a lot of states that don't allow you to purchase certain weapons in the state. They just cross the state line and go buy it next door, bring it across the state line. Keep guns out. You know what the Mexicans are, Mexico, which has real problems, causing us real problems, you know what their biggest complaint is? Can't we stop gun trafficking across the southern border into Mexico? There are certain gun dealers that are basically not gun dealers, they're wholesalers, providing the weapons to anybody who have the money. Folks, look, we can help local law enforcement. We can solve more gun crimes if we have someone heading up, which we finally do, this organization that's designed to track this kind of behavior. Finally, my plan invests in crime prevention programs that help keep young people from getting in trouble in the first place. Under my plan, communities can, one, provide after-school and summer job programs they get paid for, more access to mental health and drug counseling, more social workers and housing to keep people off the streets instead of when they get out of jail, they get $25 on a bus ticket and they end up under the same bridge that they're under before. This will help prevent crime, get young people to pick up paychecks instead of a pistol. At the same time, we need to help people getting out of prison successfully re-enter society so they don't get in trouble again. If you served your time, you shouldn't be deprived of being able to, if you've served it, you shouldn't be deprived of being able to get a Pell Grant to go to school. You shouldn't be able to get a degree. What's the best thing you can do? Make them productive. They should get access to good jobs where they can earn a decent living. All these steps will prevent crime, not increase it. Let me close with this. A safer America requires all of us to uphold the rule of law, not the rule of any one party or any one person. Let's be clear. You hear some of my friends in the other team talking about political violence and how it's necessary. Think about this now. Did any of you think, even as old as I am, you've ever been in an election where we talk about it's appropriate to use force, political violence in America? It's never appropriate. Never, period. Never, never, never. No one should be encouraged to use political violence. None whatsoever. And look, you know, if we're in a situation where, to this day, the MAGA Republicans in Congress defend the mob that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, defend them. You all saw it. I don't care how frustrated you are. You know, when I showed up, one of the things I learned as president, even though I'd been vice president for 8 years and done a great deal of the foreign policy for the administration, I showed up at a meeting of the major democracies called the G7. And I sat down. It was in England. And I sat down for this 3-day conference and I said, America's back. And Macron, president of France, turned to me and said, for how long? For how long? They made a discussion with Schmidt and all that. I mean, just for how long? And one of them said to me, imagine, Joe, if you turned on the television in Washington, D.C., and saw a mob of 1,000 people storming down the hallways of the parliament, breaking down the doors, trying to overturn an outcome of election, and killing several police officers in the meantime. Imagine what you'd think. Think about what the world saw. How about we saw what the world saw? Did you ever think the United States that would happen? What I find even more incredible is the defense of it. Cops attacked and assaulted, speared with flagpoles, sprayed with mace, stomped on, dragged, brutalized. Police lost their lives as a result of that day. Police lost their lives. One of the officers said it was worse than anything he had experienced in war in Iraq. So let me say this to my MAGA Republican friends in Congress. Don't tell me you support law enforcement if you won't condemn what happened on the 6th. Don't tell me. Can't do it. For God's sake, whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Look, you're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots. You can't do it. What are we teaching our children? It's just that simple. And now it's sickening to see the new attacks on the FBI, threatening the life of law enforcement agents and their families for simply carrying out the law and doing their job. Look, I want to say it as clear as I can. There's no place in this country, no place, for endangering the lives of law enforcement. No place. None, never, period. I'm opposed to defunding the police. I'm also opposed to defunding the FBI. Look, there's no greater responsibility for government than ensuring the safety of our people. Every parent should be able to know when this kid leaves home to go to school or just walk the street, they're going to come home safely. We can do this. We have to do this. We just need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And when we are united, there is not a single thing we cannot do. Not a single thing. I mean it. So, folks, let's remember who in God's name we are. I really mean it. What our values are. What we believe. We the people. That's how our Constitution starts, the Declaration. We the people. It's who we are. And by the way, no one expects politics to be a patty cake. It sometimes gets mean as hell. But the idea you turn on the television and see senior senators and congressmen saying, if such and such happens, there'll be blood in the street. Where the hell are we? Well, that's all I'm looking for. And folks, do me a favor. Presumptuous of me to say that. But think about doing me a favor. Please, please, elect the Attorney General of the Senate. Elect that big old boy to be governor. And by the way, there are a lot of really, and I mean this, I'm not being solicitous. Remember what used to be the criticism of Biden when I was running? Biden's too bipartisan. Biden has too many Republican friends. There's a lot of Republicans I've worked with for all the years in the Senate. I got a lot done. We respected each other. When we disagreed on principle. We then went and had lunch together. Not a joke. What in God's name has happened to that in the United States of America? So, folks, let's bring it back. We can do this. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was President Joe Biden talking about a lot of stuff. He's making the rounds. He's making the rounds, and this is to be expected. So he rallied today against what he calls the MAGA Republicans. The MAGA Republicans, the ones who have refused to condemn the attack, the assault on the Capitol. Believe it or not, there are some who defend that behavior, and we know that those are the Trump supporters. And of course, after attacking the Capitol, after the insurrection, the treasonous behavior, they're also targeting the FBI. So he tried to portray Democrats as the true pro-law enforcement party ahead of the November midterms. Oh, yeah, it's coming up. You might as well say it's September. Midterms are just around the corner. President Biden, in his remarks, initially billed as a crime prevention speech. Biden seized on comments from allies of former President Trump, those who have called for the defunding of the FBI after they executed a search warrant at Trump's Florida residence. It's ironic. You know, it's almost like live by the FBI, die by the FBI, right? If it wasn't for the FBI doing what they did ahead of the 2016 election, Trump would have never been elected. You remember when former FBI Director James Comey came out and said that Hillary Clinton was under investigation right before the election? Oh, Republicans, they loved the FBI then. Oh, the FBI is great then. But when the same branch, when the same law enforcement group now turns their sights on Donald Trump for his illegal activity, oh, now the FBI is bad. I mean, that's what they said. If you hold Donald Trump accountable, the folks are mad. Same folks. The same folks that were saying lock Hillary Clinton up. So what did Hillary Clinton do? Hillary Clinton had a server, and they said that some classified files, some classified documents were on her server and her emails. Okay. It is no equivalent to what they pulled from Trump's house. No equivalent. It's a false equivalency. Like the documents that Trump had, and they still say he has more. Still says that he has more. Oh, and we talked about that. That's really what lost Hillary Clinton the election. We talked about that incessantly for years and years and years. Right? For years and years. But these MAGA Republicans, that's what the president calls them, these Trump supporters, they not only don't want you to hold Donald Trump accountable, not only that, They just keep moving the goalposts. First they said, bring the search warrant out. Bring the affidavit out. Everything. They keep moving it down the line. First they said, if you just asked him for the documents, he would have given the documents back. Now we see proof that they've been asking Trump for the documents for a long time. Now they're saying something else. Now they're just saying, oh, well, if you hold him accountable, it's going to be blood in the streets. Yeah, the South Carolina politician said that. And, you know, he talks out of both sides of his neck because there's also footage of him talking about how he doesn't rock with Donald Trump and calling him all kinds of names. Now, because it is in his interest to kiss the ring, oh, he's kissing the ring. Lindsey Graham. So this was supposed to be, was initially billed as a crime prevention speech. And he talked about crime, the president. Talked about the crime. So the FBI executes a search warrant at Trump's house after they repeatedly asked, please, Donald, could you please give us the documents that you stole? Could you please give us the top secret documents back? Please, please, please. And he says, no, my documents, I'm keeping them. And his supporters feel like he's being done wrong. You ever notice how he never does anything wrong? Like never? Like ever? Never. Repeated. Right? Oh, I'm delusional. I'm delusional. Okay, yeah. Define delusional. Hillary Clinton killed Seth Rich. Okay. Ultra MAGA. All right. So the Ultra MAGA folks call me delusional. Yes. Okay. So crime prevention speech. Biden seized on these comments. Blood in the streets. It's not enough of the MAGA people to really cause a big thing. Here's the problem. Democrats, law enforcement, they've been dealing with these MAGA folks with kid gloves. Being too nice. Right? Too nice. If Black Lives Matter was talking greasy like this, there wouldn't be no kid gloves. They would be bringing the hammer down. Bring the hammer down on the MAGA folks. Stop acting like y'all scared of them. Bring down the hammer on them. If the Nation of Islam was talking about we going to ride on the street if Jesse Jackson don't win, if Obama don't win, we riding on, it's going to be blood in the streets, they would be coming for them. It's not enough MAGA people to do real damage. They talking. They just talking. They just talking a whole bunch of smack. They don't really want it. Bring the flag. Let them bring the flagpoles and the other stupid stuff that they do. And then you have whoever is necessary rain down on them. And then they're going to run or fall or die or whatever it is necessary. But this is an insurrection. The next time that they did a little test run. But the next time they need to take the government needs to take the gloves off. Because this is ridiculous. This is sickening. It is ridiculous. This is supposed to be the law and order people. This is supposed to be the law and order people. Right. Right. So today, Biden's speech, it took a different tone. It's a different tone for him. Oh, yeah. Speaking of different, I don't want to forget about this. Republicans, for the fall, they was talking about, oh, it's going to be a red wave. We taking all the votes. We winning all the races. Now, Oh, now the Republicans are singing a whole nother thing, right? Well, it's not going to be a red wave. We might win a few seats here and there, right? Maybe once or twice. Yeah. Now they're talking totally different. Oh, the Republicans talking totally different. Where's that energy that y'all had a few months ago when y'all was saying that y'all was going to smash Democrats in November? Where's that energy? Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's gone. It's gone because y'all let Trump once again snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Republicans were supposed to win. Usually the party who is in the minority wins on the off election. But once again, your idiotic leader has found ways to get folks over in the primary who can't win in the general election. What does that mean? Because some folks may not understand. So the primary, it's just the people in your party voting for the candidate who goes into the general election, which is in the fall. In the fall, everybody can vote for whatever candidate that they want. So it's like you get the winner for the Democrats and the winner for the Republicans, and then they go in November and everybody votes for who they want. But once again, because Donald Trump has no political sense, he's put people or allowed people to be put in the forefront of the Republican Party in whatever political position they're running for, who's just the most radical. As a Trump supporter said to me, the delusional, right? They're the most delusional. These are the candidates that are running in the general election. The general election is when you are supposed to go to the middle, because you not only have Republicans, but you also have Democrats that are going to be voting, right? So you potentially want a candidate who can appeal to more people. And these Trump Republicans only appeal to the Trump voters. So it doesn't make sense. If Trump lost election to Joe Biden, got smashed by Joe Biden, so much so, Joe Biden smashed Trump so bad, 2 years later, he's still feeling a smack in his face. That's how bad he smashed him. If Trump couldn't win, you know these lackeys can't win. So Republicans are going to be sad, mad, crying, whining for the next 2 years when they lose in November. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the excuses. And it's Trump's fault. I don't know who you're going to blame. Maybe they can blame Marilyn Mosby. They blame her for everything else. Maybe it's Marilyn Mosby's fault that the Republicans are going to lose. Oh, because y'all are going to lose. Big Bree, what's going on? So as I said, this is a different track for Joe Biden. He steered clear of, pretty much extensively commenting on any element of the Justice Department's investigation since the feds conducted a search of one of Trump's homes. Biden also called out, without naming him, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Called out Sugar Graham. He warned of riots in the streets. You know, Lindsey Graham ain't never been in a fight in his life. Having him say that is kind of like ridiculous. The president said, the idea you turn on a television and you see senior senators and congressmen saying if such and such happens, there'll be blood on the street. Where the hell are we? The president said. Oh, yeah, this was a different tone. President talking about guns. Right? President talking greasy. And I liked it. I liked the aggressive Joe Biden. Aggressive Joe Biden. Yes. Sugar Graham, Senator Sugar Graham fighting his urges. Yes. Speech today, Biden continued aggressive rhetoric against the GOP ahead of the midterms. You can tell he's feeling better about himself. Somebody's been looking at their polls. Pause. Yeah, so Biden in a political rally here in Maryland last week said that the Republican ideology of the MAGA supporters was semi-fascism. Not no semi. Anytime you have a group that only believes the election results when they win, doesn't want their politicians held accountable, feels that they can do whatever they want to do, threatens violence if things don't go their way. That's fascism. Fascism. That is it. They're fascists. Right? That's the definition of it. Biden is also set to deliver a democracy-focused speech on Thursday in Philly. The White House says it will make clear who is fighting for democratic values. As he's done before, President Biden today criticized Republican officials who have refused to denounce the pro-Trump rioters who breached the U.S. Capitol nearly 20 months ago. 20 months! 20 months ago. Referencing Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, Biden said, "Let me say this to my MAGA Republican friends in Congress. Don't tell me you support law enforcement if you won't condemn what happened on the 6th. Right? He said that before. He said that before. And it's true. It's true. Oh, so they're talking about Stacey Abrams. Okay. Yeah, at least Stacey Abrams can get a date, right? Stacey Abrams can find a girl. Lindsey Graham can't find no boy to like him. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're talking greasy on YouTube. So this campaign-style speech near Biden's birthplace was the first of 3 visits by the president in less than a week to the state that is home to a competitive governor's race at the U.S. Senate contest that could help determine whether the Dems will keep their majority in the chamber. Trump is hosting his own rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Oh, yes, things are heating up. Things are heating up. All right, so, you may see some things coming across the screen. Yeah, because, folks on YouTube are talking crazy. Okay, Stacey Abrams. So understand this. There's a difference between liking your loss and accepting your loss. Is Hillary Clinton going around saying that she should be installed as the president? No, she didn't like losing because the FBI ultimately took the election from her, right? She don't like it. She ain't going around saying she's really the president. She's not going around saying she's the president. Stop lying. Stop lying. She's not. Hillary Clinton's not going around saying she's the president. She isn't. She isn't doing it. Stacey Abrams is not going around saying she's the governor. She's not. She's not doing it. She don't like the result. and she may feel that she was cheated. But she's not saying she's actually the governor. She's not saying that Kemp is the fake governor. No, she's not. She's not doing it. She's not. Nice try, though. What else you got? What else you got? I don't know. You know, Trump supporters, they type fast. Trump supporters type fast. Democrats believe Pennsylvania is their strongest opportunity to flip a Senate seat currently held by Republicans. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Democrats believe it. Meanwhile, the open race for governor will give the winner power over how the 2024 presidential election is run in a battleground state that is still bathing in Trump's baseless claims. Baseless. Trump's claims are baseless. At least if Hillary was going around saying that she was cheated, she had something she could point to. Comey came forward, said that this candidate was under investigation right before the election. Isn't it funny how things work? What if a couple days, let's pretend, pretend with me for a minute. Let's pretend that Trump and Biden 2024. Let's pretend that we are forced to stomach that mess again. And a couple days before the election, the FBI comes out and says Trump's under investigation for espionage and treason. Oh, Republicans would go crazy. And then the day before, it says, oh, no, he's not under investigation. Forget that. Oh, they would be going crazy. That's what they did to Hillary, essentially. She at least got something she could point to. Trump's claims are baseless. He's on tape trying to pressure people into getting votes. He led an insurrection to the Capitol. Like, there's so much evidence. Yeah, Hillary didn't like what happened, but she took it on the chin, like Monica Lewinsky. She took it on the chin and kept it moving. Then she went in the woods and started walking around dressing like Justin Timberlake on his last album. Oh, yes, you do like Trump. Get out of here with that mess. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. He doesn't like Trump. Whatever. Yes. Biden's comments on the FBI come as his son, Hunter, faces a federal investigation for tax evasion. Oh, yes. Republicans are happy about that. He has not faced any charges. He's previously denied wrongdoing. We'll see what happens. But the GOP started as a pretty up and up party of Lincoln. But along the way, the Southern Democrats, so during the time of Reconstruction and after Reconstruction in the early 1900s, after World War I, around that time, with Southern Democrats, who are actually the current Republicans, they started leaving the parties. Things started switching. And the Republican Party was taken over by the folks who've been in there traditionally. Initially, the party started one way, but the Republican Party was hijacked. So the Republican Party that we know now is not the same that they started. Their roots have been diluted. That is what it is. I just like to say that because sometimes, you know, when they're tracing their lineage, they forget how things switched. People jump parties. The Democrats used to be the party of the racist. Now, they're still racist Democrats, I'm sure. But the Klan used to be in the Democrats. And they switched. You know, party people switched. Trump used to be a Democrat. Now he's a Republican. There's many examples of folks switching parties. So don't get too caught up in parties. It's more about what the person does and where the person lives. Because a person lives somewhere where they can't, win as one party, they're going to switch to the other. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. So the president also used his remarks today to promote his administration's crime prevention efforts and to continue to pressure Congress to revive a long expired federal ban on assault style weapons. He was talking about the crime bill at 94, and I was like, okay, is that where you're going? Are you really trying to go back there? Man, I was like, okay, this is what he wants to do. He wants to open up this can of worms. Fields 1, what's going on, baby? Fields 1 is in the building. See what Fields 1 is talking about on YouTube. Yeah, okay. Yeah, America is a corporation, right? America is a corporation. What else he said? Be careful. You never been this close. Oh, okay. All right. Now Trump supporters agree. What is going on? This is Taco Tuesday. Democrats and Republicans work together in a rare effort to pass gun safety legislation earlier this year after massacres in Buffalo and Uvalde. So the president was talking about that. And this is something that I think Democrats should have been doing earlier. Really talk about the effects of the assault weapons on the human body. Go back to Vietnam. Of course, it's before we were born or before I was born, right? And what really started to hit home is when the TV station started showing the bodies of the soldiers coming home. Showing the caskets. They don't do that no more. You know why? Because when you show people the truth, and not the foolishness that politicians just spit out there, the people react. You start showing, some people talk about it, but you start showing these families having to give DNA so they can potentially identify their loved ones after they were massacred with the AR-15 because there's nothing left that you can identify. Start showing some of this stuff, things will change. But right now, it's people are just, desensitized to it because it's just talk. It's just talk right now. You talked about beating the NRA. The NRA doesn't want you to do that. Show it. Show us the results. Because it's just, you got the Alex Jones and those types. Because if people don't show what happens, you got con men who can just convince some people that it never really happened because they didn't show us. We got to start showing some of this stuff. Smack people in the face with the truth. But people don't want the truth, right? I say, you can't handle the truth, right? They don't want to give them the truth. Biden did play a leading role in temporarily banning assault-style weapons, including firearms, similar to the AR-15. But now, it has exploded in popularity in recent years, and he wants to put the law back into place. What other laws is he trying to put back in place? You got to watch this Biden guy. Biden argued that there was no rationale for weapons like this outside of the war zone. I do agree with that. He noted that parents of young victims at the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde had to supply DNA because the weapon used to massacre renders the body unidentifiable. We have got to show that. That's not talked about enough. It's not talked about enough. These are not weapons that should be on the streets. They are weapons of war. True. Facts. Well, good for you. Trump supporters talking about legally buying firearms. And okay. You probably got a knockoff and you didn't know. Democrats are trying to blunt Republican efforts to use concern about crime to their advantage in the midterms. So crime, it's going to be, it's going to be a back and forth. Both parties claiming to be the law and order party. Both of y'all can't be the law and order party, can you? I guess it's possible. Biden's turning up the heat. He's feeling good about himself and blasting the MAGA Republicans. We're going to see what happens. Because here's the thing that for sure politicians are going to do. They're going to keep changing. Keep talking and then walking it back. Talk crazy, walk it back. Talk crazy, walk it back. Just an your man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com, the Diamond K Show.com, WRF radio app, radioonfire.com. Man, we still have a lot of other things to get into. Biden taking on Republicans over crime and attacks on the FBI. Lindsey Graham, Sugar Graham, predicting riots in the street if Trump is prosecuted. How about you tell him to stop committing crime? I bet you Donald Trump could push Melania out of a moving vehicle. And Republicans would say, oh, no, we can't prosecute him on that. Melania wasn't born in America. Oh, yeah, they make so many excuses for him. It is actually sickening to watch. Let's do this, take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the show. After this, you're watching the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, Argh.
On firetv.com.
And we are back. So in Atlanta, the district attorney is not playing games with nobody. She ain't playing no games. She is not playing no games. She has defended using rap lyrics as criminal evidence in trials. It's interesting. So I mean, how do you? So I guess if the lyrics support what you're investigating, then you say they're telling the truth. And then if the lyrics don't support what you're investigating, then you say they lying on their records. I don't know. It's a very interesting thing in hip hop. They want you to live your lyrics, right? They want you to be what you say you are. And if you don't do that, then you are not keeping it real. But the Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis is defending using rap lyrics as criminal evidence in drug rich gang and YSL RICO cases. Man. Oh, there was a press conference yesterday where DA Willis talked about this. This comes after 26 alleged members of the drug rich gang were arrested in Atlanta and have been indicted in connection with a string of high-profile home invasions and other violent crimes in the Atlanta area. She said this, I think if you decide to admit your crimes over a beat, I'm going to use it, the district attorney said. You do not get to commit crimes in my county and then decide to brag on it, which you do that in as a form of intimidation and to further the gang and not be held responsible. I also like the fact that this is the same district attorney that is trying to hold Donald Trump accountable and his MAGA gang. Yes, hold all of these gangs accountable, including the MAGA gang. Just one of the lyrics used in this indictment is, "Me and my crew striking out, striking in all black. Send me the drop. We'll kick in the house. If we steal a car, we're going to take off the tags." Well, they're kicking in doors, committing home invasions, and now I'm using those lyrics that they're admitting to doing that. The DA continued saying that I'm going to continue to do that. She makes no excuses, no apologies for it. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Shout out to IG. So she's going to continue to do that. The district attorney in Atlanta, Fulton County to be exact. Yesterday, it was announced that 26 members of the drug-rich gang were arrested and hit with RICO charges, multiple home invasions. Investigators used music videos, rap lyrics, and social media posts to tie members of the gang to the indictment. So they're going to have video. They got audio. It is crazy. It is crazy. According to the indictment, the gang targeted homes belonging to Mariah Carey, Atlanta Falcons star Calvin Ridley, and Future's baby mama, Brittany Mealy. Man. So these folks are going down. They don't have any supporters like the president, former president does, trying to help them. They just gonna go down. Trump goes down swinging, but Fani Willis is also going after Donald Trump. So we'll see. And they got him on tape saying crazy things. So she's going to use those tapes too. And so Republicans are saying, yeah, lock up these black people. Use those videos and lyrics against them. Use that social media against them. We got Trump on tape too. How you like them apples? How you feel about that? Oh, that's different. They don't want to talk about that. The ex-Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, passed away. 91. Wow, he's 91 years old. You remember Reagan was like, Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Right? He was in charge. And the Soviet Union, you remember that? Soviet Union was back in the day. Nobody remembers. Waged a losing battle. Tried to, salvage the crumbling empire. But produced extraordinary reforms that led to the end of the Cold War. Yep. So, I don't know. It's just he had a long illness. No details really given. But his decline was humiliating. He was humiliated. His power was sapped by an attempted coup against him in 1991. Spent his last months in office watching republic after republic declare independence until he resigned on Christmas in 1991. Soviet Union wrote itself into oblivion a day later. And, so it's, it's sad, of course. Anytime somebody dies, sad. Russians blame him for the 1991 implosion of the Soviet Union. This is part of the reason why the Russians is acting how they acting now. Because this guy lost everything for them. They trying to get it back. Russia was a once fearsome superpower whose territory fractured into 15 separate nations. Soviet Union became disunified. Former allies deserted him and made him the scapegoat for the country's troubles. So, Mikhail Gorbachev passing away 91 years old after a long illness. In Baltimore news, Baltimore County Police are investigating after a teen in Towson dies, presumed from drowning. 15-year-old boy in Towson drowned and over the weekend. So, it's a sad story. Sad story. It appears that he was actually trespassing in someone's pool on Saturday, which resulted in a tragic loss of life. Thoughts and prayers with the family of the deceased. Sad situation there. A man accused of shooting his brother barricaded in South Baltimore. So he barricaded himself in the third floor apartment for several hours before surrendering. There was some kind of dispute between the two brothers. Police called in the SWAT team and negotiators and locked down the nearby Thomas Jefferson Elementary and Middle School. Situation ended peacefully several hours later. Police have not released the suspect's name, saying he is undergoing an evaluation and has not been officially charged. Oh, he will be charged. Court records refer to the police investigation and indicates the brothers arguing about John firing Bobby from his business. Then Bobby returned with a shotgun and shot him. Police say that once the evaluation of the suspect is complete, they will formally charge him. Many in Baltimore City went back to school yesterday. Many Baltimore City schools are without AC, dismissing early for the rest of the week. Yes, we're back here again. City schools still without air. Now, even though they're getting advance notice, I'm sure that many parents are not happy about this. The city school district is promising to address the issue as it continues to stay on top of maintenance. Y'all ain't never been on top of maintenance. It's ironic that folks that are in charge of passing students, you administrators and the schools, y'all failed. Why are we still talking about Baltimore City schools not having goddamn AC? It was hot. It's hot. Right? School officials say they're trying to keep the buildings cool in the summer and hot in the winter is an ongoing process. This is the first week of school. Several schools closed early on the first day. Now, yes, when I was in school, we started school after Labor Day. This is that new thing. We didn't go to school in August. We went to school in September, and I always remember having to wear a little light jacket. We had to worry about this stuff until, springtime. But times are different now. Even though the school system said it has a number of air conditioning and heating projects on the drawing board, you had all summer to do this. Oh, wait. What were you doing when it was virtual learning? Didn't think to work on it then. Wow. This is sad, and disgusting. These are some of the things that we need to hold our elected officials accountable for. Doesn't even make sense. And when you try to give air units, I've tried to give air units. Oh, no. We got something else. We can't take that. We can't use that. I don't understand. Doesn't make sense to me. Why is it so hard to have these simple things? So we run down some of these schools. Baltimore City College, Curtis Bay Elementary and Middle School, Furley Elementary School, New Era Academy, Empowerment Academy, Utah Marshburn Elementary, Franklin Square Elementary and Middle School, Montebello Elementary and Middle School, Pimlico Elementary and Middle School, Vanguard Collegiate Middle School. All of those don't have air letting out early. Wow. Plains Jane on Instagram says they didn't think to have virtual learning avenues in place so that the kids could still, yeah. All of this stuff, this is too much. I mean, it's really simple to solve these problems. Real simple. They don't want to solve the problems. I just don't know why, but they don't want to solve the problems. There's money for these things, but the school, whoever's in charge of this, North Avenue, all of them Bamas need to be fired. All of them. Every last one of them. I mean, and you take over business, you audit it. Where's the money? We figure it out. Everybody got to go. All of them. All of them. Because what are they doing? I don't understand what they're doing. The basics. No heat, no air. Because if you don't have air, they don't have heat either. It's just an ongoing thing. Other schools, Benjamin Franklin High School, Harlem Park Middle and Elementary, City Springs, National Academy Foundation, Baltimore, Midtown Academy, Southwest Baltimore Charter School, Reginald F. Lewis High School, Mount Washington, Westport Youth Academy. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Today's the second day of school, and they're already sending folks home early. That's Baltimore for you. Just tune in. It's the Diamond K Show here on fire-tv.com. Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, on
firetv.com.
Welcome back to Diamond K Show. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At the City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouthwatering. The atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwynn Oak, Maryland, it is the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. Cityviewmd.com. So, we'll be remiss if I don't mention this. Saturday, day party, 12 to 5. We're going to be broadcasting live from City View Saturday. So that is going to be a lot of fun. Dynamic Saturday day party live on fire-tv.com and radioonfire.com. Plains Jane, shout out to Plains Jane. Thank you very much. Yes, she said those them happy hour shrimp be popping. You are right, and I'm going to get some of those on Saturday when we are in there for the live broadcast from 12 to 5. Okay, all right, and Sky's the Limit on YouTube says that they're stealing the money, and she's talking about North Avenue stealing the school folks on North Avenue stealing the money. You goddamn right they're stealing the money. And it's time for all of them to go. We've been having this conversation for way too long. Way too long. Wes Moore, the Democratic candidate between the July primary and last week, his campaign has raised almost $2 million. Wow. Impressive. As part of its first campaign finance report to be filed before midnight, the Moore camp says that the majority of the contributions came from people who gave $100 or less. In a statement about their fundraising, campaign manager Miller says it shows an incredible amount of momentum heading out of the primary. Right about that. It's clear that Wes Moore has built a coalition that can power him to victory in November with the investment of supporters who see the opportunity we have to make Maryland a place where we leave no one behind, Miller said. West's vision has resonated with so many Marylanders, and because of that, he has seen an outpouring of support from our communities. Folks from all walks of life are energized to join West in his mission to bring much needed change to the people of Maryland. In total, Moore has raised $10.5 million for his campaign. Man, he is rolling. He is rolling. And we talked about it last week. He has declined a debate with his Republican opponent that Morgan State proposed. So Dan Cox is going to Morgan without his opponent being there. I don't agree with that. I wish that he would debate him. He would shred him. But it is what it is. Sky's the Limit on YouTube says that I'm sure they will still be on the clock unless they're salaried. Yeah, they probably are salaried, and they still the man. I don't know if Avenue. We got to figure something out. We have got to figure something out. So Wes Moore raising a lot of money. Baltimore Ravens cut the roster to 53 players. Baltimore Ravens today trimmed down their roster, and the league's deadline was 4 p.m. So a gang of folks. Notables. Tony Jefferson did not make it. Stephen Means. Hayes. Batty. That's interesting. So, quarterback, of course, is Lamar. Tyler Huntley. What's going to happen with Lamar? I'm so nervous. So nervous. Of course, 6 p.m. daily right here, the Diamond K Show. And, over the weekend, and I have to keep saying this because when we talk about crime in the city of Baltimore, I don't want folks thinking that it is only happening here in Baltimore. No, it is happening everywhere. Okay? Everywhere around this great country, we are dealing with a surge in crime. Everywhere. But when we talk about it here, it just seems like, Baltimore is the worst place. It is not. It is not. Baltimore is a great city. It's a great city. But sadly, some Maryland jurisdictions have seen a spike in carjackings. Recent incidents in the Baltimore region have some people asking police if carjacking cases are on the rise, and they are. Around 1 a.m., Baltimore police responded to the 500 block of Tunbridge Road to investigate a shooting where an 18-year-old woman was fatally shot in the head overnight. Sad. So it was around 1 a.m. when police got to the scene. They found an 18-year-old woman, pronounced her dead at the scene, as I said, shot in the head. Homicides to date, 237 right now. We are ahead of the 2021 223 number. Trump supporters are saying this is the Biden effect. Okay. Trump supporters say anything. Like, there's literally nothing that Trump supporters. I'm looking at some Trump supporters on YouTube. Trump supporters will say anything. It's Biden's fault. It's Marilyn Mosby's fault. Right? So we were talking about that. In a study published by Wallet Hub, the state of Maryland ranked number 2 in the country for the best community college system. Gotta say some good stuff, right? There is some good stuff sometimes. Wallet Hub is a personal finance website, completed its analysis with a calculated weighted average of scores earned by community colleges in each state. They also look at the number of students enrolled in each school. So the study took into account the states with at least 2 community colleges present in the sample for the comparing of the results. Maryland moved up 2 spots from last year's ranking. We were ranked number 4 last year. The only state ahead of Maryland in this year's rankings was Connecticut, with the number 1 community college system. Other top community college systems included New Mexico, Washington, and Hawaii. So it's not all bad. We do have great community colleges. So according to some reports. So I guess that's good. That's good, right? Is that something we can hang our hat on? I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know. 2 teens are facing gun charges after being caught with them in a PG County school. These 2 students facing charges for bringing handguns to Suitland High School in PG County yesterday. So it doesn't always, every bad thing is not just in Baltimore, but that's in Maryland still. Police say around 11 a.m. they served a 16-year-old student an arrest warrant in connection to a carjacking. Investigators say that they found a gun in the teen's waistband during the arrest. Hours later, a school resource officer was told there was a second student with a gun at the school. The officer found the gun inside an 18-year-old's backpack. Both students facing multiple charges. What are they doing? This is crazy. The last place you need to be bringing a gun is to school, fam. They just screwed everything up. The latest Maryland insurrectionist sentenced, Joshua Pruitt, 40 years old, will spend more than 4 years in prison for storming the U.S. Capitol on January the 6th. Pruitt is a Silver Spring man who investigators say came face-to-face with Senator Chuck Schumer as his armed security detail led him to safety. He's lucky he wasn't shot on the spot. They described him as an aspiring Proud Boys member whose intimidating figure made him an ideal recruit for the January 6th insurrection in the group. So, more than 4 years in prison. He'll be gone for a minute. Supporting Trump. See what supporting Trump gets you. Not too much. Remember when Trump was saying he's going to pay your legal fees? Stuff like that. He ain't paying nobody legal fees. He don't even pay his own legal fees. He don't even pay his own legal fees. So what are y'all doing? Baltimore City Police acknowledged yesterday crime in the city over the weekend that left 1 person dead and multiple injured here in Baltimore. From Friday through Sunday, Baltimore experienced 7 shooting incidents that resulted in 1 homicide. There were also 15 confirmed robberies in Baltimore. Police say that they made 60 arrests this weekend. 6 warrants were also issued. And I talked about that homicide number. We have 13 more homicides than same time last year. City has also experienced 501 non-fatal shootings, 54 more than the same time in 2021. We have got to turn the temperature down. We've got to turn the temperature down. This is a lot of drama unnecessarily. Yeah, it's unnecessarily. We got to find another way. Got to find another way. So there are several groups of anti-violence groups trying to make a difference, trying to bring some type of a change. And it starts with the younger folks. So there was a community walk that anti-violence groups hosted to try to engage with some of the young folks, especially right now at the beginning of the school year. The group We Are Us, been on the show and have been at Radio on Fire several times. They held a community walk in Northwest Baltimore yesterday, the same street where a mass shooting happened last week. We talked about that. They're hoping to work alongside city efforts to curb this violence while engaging the young people. It's so important. So important. First day of school wrapped up, and a city unity movement holding a community walk against violence. We have to highlight these things. The goal, obviously, to engage teens and young men. They had a megaphone in hand. The group surveyed this same street where you had that daytime mass shooting that left 6 people injured and 1 dead in Park Heights. Groups like We Are Us said that their goal is to be part of the solution. Mental illness is behind a great deal of the violence and the murders in Baltimore City, according to Venneth McCormick, who runs the New Life Recovery Center, which is a 24-hour intake operation healing those with drug, alcohol, and substance abuse issues in Baltimore. Hopes that providing resources will help curtail this violence that we've been talking about. Hopefully. We got to do something. I mean, we can't just sit back and just, like shake our heads at it. Like we got to do something. And I'm really glad to see some folks not just waiting for Brandon Scott or Michael Harris or whoever to try to do something. I don't know. We got to do something. Texas confirmed the first U.S. person to die of monkeypox. Texas officials announced today that a patient diagnosed with monkeypox has died, making it possibly the first fatality from the virus. Health officials added that the patient was an adult with a severely compromised immune system. So it wasn't just like, somebody super healthy that got monkeypox and died. This person's immune system was compromised. Texas State Health Commissioner spoke to the public during the announcement, stating that monkeypox is a serious disease, particularly for those with weakened immune systems. We continue to urge people to seek treatment if they have been exposed to monkeypox or have symptoms consistent with the disease. Across the world, 8 countries have reported a total of 15 deaths from monkeypox this year. Countries include Cuba, Brazil, Ecuador, Ghana, India, Nigeria, Spain, and the Central African Republic. In the U.S., more than 18,000 cases have been reported, with every state reporting infections from this virus. So the deputy head of the White House monkeypox response team revealed that 94% of the confirmed cases were associated with sex, and nearly all of the patients are gay men. In the U.S., the CDC also reported that approximately 30% of the monkeypox patients are white, 32% are Hispanic, and 33% are Black. I mean, this monkeypox is a serious thing, and we've been talking about it. It is definitely a serious thing, and I don't know. If it ain't one thing, it's another. It's another. A lot of folks not taking this stuff serious. I mean, coronavirus was a different animal. It transfers differently than monkeypox, so it's not identically the same. And I understand, some folks taking that stance that they're taking, but monkeypox is a serious thing, obviously. Very serious thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, of course, on fire-tv.com. I will be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. So much. So, I mean, we can go on and on. I still have things on the list that I haven't even talked about. Like, I still have things on the list. But we can save some of those things for tomorrow. And do that. Of course, this Saturday, 12 to 5 p.m., we are going to be streaming live from City View Bar and Grill, the day party at the City View Bar and Grill, 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwen Oak, Maryland. Looking forward to that. Also, this weekend, the Baltimore Club Show, 6 p.m., immediately following the day party. I'll be in the mix with Baltimore club music. And djdiamondk@gmail.com if you're trying to get in touch with me. Very easy to do that. Shout out to everybody. Salute Instagram. Shout out to y'all over there. djdiamondk@gmail.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, just search The Diamond K Show. Facebook, shout out to y'all. YouTube, shout out to y'all. And I will be back here tomorrow.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, ah.
On firetv.com. On Fire TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move.